I'm replacing the headlight switch on a 2007 Toyota Camry as well as the cruise control switch. They're both bad. This is the cruise control switch right here. Got it online from Amazon. Came in a box that says combination switch, which is also the name for the headlight switch. And it definitely is not combination switch. It is cruise control switch. There's the cruise control switch. Came with the wiring right here for it. So that's also in the bag. Before we do anything with the steering wheel, we want to disconnect the negative terminal of the battery right here because we don't want the airbag on the steering wheel to trigger. This just takes a 10mm wrench. Just take that off. Just clear it out of the way so that it's not accidentally touching the terminal. Before I take the steering wheel off, I'm going to press the brake pedal and turn on the ignition so it drains any electricity from any capacitors. We don't want any electricity in the system to accidentally trigger the airbag. After disconnecting the battery, you want to make sure all the capacitors are drained. So let it sit for a couple minutes till the capacitors drain so the airbag isn't accidentally triggered. And you can also step on the brake pedal a couple of times to make sure that electricity, if there's any in the residual electricity in the system, drains out, and same with turning the key to the on position. Next, we have to remove this plastic cover right here. And there's one on each side. Use a small flat head screwdriver. To release the airbag, we have to remove these Torx bolts right here. There's one on this side, and there's another one on the other side. A number 30 Torx wrench will take it out. Get in here with a flat head screwdriver back in here. And that pops off just like that. Slips out over the top of that. You can see the tabs are on the back right there, a tab right there, and a tab. These two tabs hold it in place. These can be a little tight, and if they are really tight, you could jerry-rig something like I did with a socket wrench and a little holder right here and break it free. And I can unscrew it the rest of the way with this. Once you unscrew it all the way, it doesn't come completely out. There's these little plastic retainers right here that keep the bolt in place. You can loosen a little bit, and then the airbag should just pop out like that. Once you've released the airbag from these Torx, number 30 Torx screws right there, you have to release these electrical connections right here, those two, and there's a black one right there. You do that by getting under this yellow tab, lifting it, under that yellow tab, lifting it, and then just pry that off, pry that off. Those out of the way, this one should just come right off. And then the airbag comes off, and you're done. Before we put everything back together, all these little electrical connections right here, to make sure they don't corrode, we're going to put some dielectric connector protector. It's just a kind of grease that keeps moisture out of there so that they will last longer and won't rust or corrode. To apply the dielectric connector grease, I'm just putting it on the end of a screwdriver here and just wiping over the terminals on both sides right there and making sure that we are coating those both ends. And then on the other end, I'm going to just put a little bit right in the end right there, so when it slides in, it'll help push it along. So we'll put just a little dab of grease right in there. To replace the cruise control, we have to disconnect this cable right here. Just pinch on that and pull it out. And we can disconnect this one right at the top right here. Pull that out. It's just clipped into that little spot right there. And then we're going to unscrew those screws. And then we can just pull this out. It comes right off the tab there, and you can pull it out this way. And replace the old one with a new one. I'm going to put a little dielectric grease on the contacts to make sure that they don't corrode. Get a little on there. Get inside here. Okay, we've got grease on the connectors there. Put the new screws in. Hook up the electrical connections. So that goes in the top right there. You can't mess them up because that only fits in there, and this one only fits in down there. So we'll put that in. Get back into that little clip right there. All right, that's all hooked up. Cruise control should be ready to go. Reconnect the electrical connections here for the airbag. And then we put these back in right here. That snaps in. That snaps in. Push those down so that they stay nice and snug. And then we just put everything back into place. When you push the airbag back in place, it may not snap all the way in, so you might have to pull this tab out just a little bit to make sure it seats in there. Once it's in, then that should sit over it, and then we can just screw them back in place. And then we pop the last covers into place, and there's the last one in place.